There's something curious or unusual, at least to me, going on in today's gospel. The thing is that James and John and Peter were commercial fishermen. It took a lot of skill to be in that trade, and it was a dangerous trade, as it is today. It's one of the highest mortality occupations you can have. So it took a lot of skill and experience to do that. And Jesus was a carpenter. He knew how to make tables and chairs and cupboards and things like that. And in the gospel, Jesus tells the fishermen, commercial fishermen, how to fish. Go figure. Does that make any sense to you? On the surface of things, their lives are nothing alike. Well, in that regard, on the surface, our lives are nothing like Jesus' life either. A first century man, 21st century men and women. I mean, what's alike about our lives? We have running water and electricity and computers and cars and cell phones and iPads and all sorts of stuff. Television. And Jesus didn't have any of that. And we have kind of like hectic, really full, hectic lives. And so one might well wonder, as I've heard people wonder, what does Jesus from 2,000 years ago have to say and understand and have to say about my life today? What does he get about it? On the surface of things, that makes some sense. Why would we listen to him? We have a hint to the first question for the apostles in the gospel itself, because it said Jesus walked up to the lake, asked Peter, James, and John to push their boats just a little bit off the shore so that he could preach to the people. And while he was preaching to them, they were listening. And they must have heard something. Something of the good news. Something of God. Something of love, forgiveness, healing, or hope. Because when he then said, after he has finished speaking, put your boats out into the deep water, it's a symbolic thing for me. Because if you see, it's like, okay, you've been skimming the surface all this time. Your hearts were longing for something more. You just heard it. Now push out into the deep and lower your nets. And they said, well, we've been hard at it all night and caught nothing, but we just heard something here. And okay, if you say so. They push out and push their nets down into the deep, where they might discover more of life. And then what happened? They came up with a net full of fish, symbolically saying to me, they went down into the deep and came back with a fullness to fill their emptiness. And then they said, wow, we'll follow you. Why then would we follow Jesus today, 2,000 years later? Well, we might... Oh, wait a minute. I can't answer for you, can I? All right, I'll answer for myself. Why would I listen to Jesus, someone who's on the surface, knows little about our life today? I listen to him because he doesn't stay on the surface. He talks from the deep to the deep parts of life. He helps me to understand my life. He helps me to know God the Father. He teaches me about love and hope and forgiveness and healing. And he brings a kind of a fullness into my life that I do not have without him. That's why I listen. Because there's so much more there. And I don't know about you, but I get tired pretty fast about skimming the surface. sit around, talk about, no, just talking to people about just chewing the fat. Okay, that's all fine. We all start that way, but that goes on too long, and I get bored with it. What about you? I don't know. I need someone talking deeper to my heart, with my friends, people I know, more closely. We got to talk about something that makes some difference to life. And that's where Jesus is. He speaks to it so that when he says, go deeper, we let the deep fill the emptiness that we might have. He gives us some purpose and meaning and understanding about so many things, like God and love and forgiveness and hope and healing and so much more. How about you? Do you think Jesus has anything to say to you, a 21st century man or woman? What have you heard him say? Deeper. Why are you here? Nobody can answer that question for any one of us except ourselves alone. And then, when we know why we're here, when we experience some of that fullness, we too are called to do what Isaiah did and what those apostles did, with saying, here I am, Lord, send me. I know what the word is that you speak to me and what difference it makes in my life. And now I too will go to other people and go beyond the surface to speak words that people so much need to hear about love and goodness and healing and forgiveness and hope and God. To speak that from what I know down deep. It's what we're called to do. To give of what we have received. So Jesus invites each of us to go deeper, to let our nets down, and let us see how he will fill the emptiness in our lives. And then say, here I am, send me. I will speak those words to others.